Let me tell you about a time when it seemed like God was not with his people, a story found in the first book of Samuel. This isn't just any story. It's about faith, hope, and what happens when we feel God's presence is missing, especially when we need it most. The Israelites were gearing up for a significant battle against the Philistines, surrounded by a mix of fear and anticipation. The first book of Samuel, chapter 3, verse 1, highlights a peculiar time when divine messages were scarce and visions from God were almost non-existent. It was as if the heavens had gone quiet, leaving the people in a state of eager longing for a word from God. Amid this silence, the Ark of the Covenant, a revered symbol of God's promises and his presence, became the center of Israel's hope. It wasn't just any object, it was the physical manifestation of God's covenant with them, housing sacred relics like the stone tablets of the Ten Commandments, manna from their time in the wilderness, and Aaron's rod that budded. The Israelites believed that bringing the ark from Shiloh to the battlefield would ensure God's presence and, consequently, victory over their enemies. "Let's bring the Ark of the Covenant from Shiloh," they said, filled with hope that this act would change their fate. When the ark arrived, the camp erupted in such jubilation that it felt like the ground itself was shaking. This moment of ecstatic cheer was so intense that even the Philistines trembled, thinking, God has come into the camp. The Israelites were convinced they would win because they equated the loud celebration and the ark's presence with having God on their side. However, despite the noise and their conviction, they lost the battle. The Philistines captured the ark, and the Israelites faced a devastating defeat. This outcome was a harsh lesson that the presence of the ark and the thunderous noise did not necessarily mean God was with them in the way they assumed. This part of the story serves as a powerful reminder that noise does not equate to God's presence, and the resemblance of God doesn't always mean he is present. It's a scene played out in some churches and fellowships today, where there's a lot of noise, with charismatic preachers and congregations engaged in loud singing and shouting. Yet despite these outward expressions of faith, it doesn't necessarily mean God's presence is in their midst. What this teaches us is that the essence of our relationship with God goes beyond physical symbols and loud expressions of worship. Just like the Israelites learned that having the ark and making a great noise didn't guarantee God's favor, we learn that genuine communion with God isn't about how loud we pray or sing, but about the sincerity and depth of our faith. It's a call to seek a true, heartfelt connection with God, beyond the symbols and the noise, reminding us that his presence is found in the quiet, obedient, and faithful worship of our hearts.